Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to week 12 of home learning. It's hard to believe that school for most of you has now been closed for more than 3 months, although it is now lovely to see Year 10 and a few other students back in school. As you know from listening to the news, the virus is now under much more control than it was. Shops and businesses are gradually opening up again, and we are all looking forward to schools reopening much more widely and for all of you, certainly by September at the latest. Now, I want once again to say a massive well done to all of you who are working to a regular routine every day, getting exercise, reading, working in Google Classroom and helping around the house. Do keep it up. And even when the summer holidays come round, keep reading regularly, and then you will do really well when you get back to school. I don't have a long address for you today, but I did think it would be nice to share with you one of my favourite monologues from when I was at school. A monologue is a story or a speech or a poem performed by one person on a stage. Mono comes from the ancient Greek word meaning alone, and log comes from the ancient Greek for word or meaning. So you can see how together they form monologue, meaning speaking alone. Of course, if more than one person is speaking, we call it a dialogue, don't we? To get back to the point though, when I heard the news that zoos and outdoor animal parks would soon be opening up again, it reminded me of a monologue called The Lion and Albert. It was written by a man called Mariette Edgar and was most famously performed by a music hall entertainer called Stanley Holloway in the last century. Now, he had a broad northern accent, similar to the way people used to speak when I was growing up in West Yorkshire, so I shall try my best at a northern accent while I recite The Lion and Albert, which recounts the story of a family's visit to the zoo in Blackpool. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun, and Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. They didn't think much to the ocean. The waves, they were fiddling and small. There was no wrecks and nobody drowned. Fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo, where they'd lions and tigers and camels, and old ale and sandwiches too. There were one great big lion called Wallace. His nose were all covered with scars. He lay in a somnolent posture with the side of his face to the bars. Now, Albert had heard about lions, how they was ferocious and wild. To see Wallace lying so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to the child. So, straightway, the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with its horse's head handle and shoved it in Wallace's ear. You could see that the lion didn't like it, for giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Then Pa, who had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, yon lion's et Albert." And Mother said, "Well, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly when's all said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your boy he's eaten?" Pa said, "Am I sure? There's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Yon lion's et Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." The mother said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for a lion to go and eat Albert and after we've paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying, "How much to settle the matter?" And Pa said, "What do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought where her Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summonsed." So that was decided upon. Then off they all went to the police station, in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what had happened to Albert, and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name. At that, Mother got proper blazing. "And thank you, sir, kindly," said she. "What? Waste all our lives raising children to feed ruddy lions? Not me." I hope you enjoyed that, gentlemen. Thank you for listening.